Welcome back to DaBoot Tragedies. We're going to talk about the Saints injury report from London on this Wednesday. A lot of guys didn't practice. A lot of guys are limited. Obviously, the Saints have had a bad season so far. 1-2, not the end of the world, but a lot of things have gone wrong. Injuries has always been a problem for the Saints, and this year, nothing has changed. We can just start, just from this offseason with Peyton Turner, Davenport, obviously we know about Michael Thomas. P. Warner had a groin injury. So it's just been a lot of injuries that, carried over from the offseason training camp, and now some more injuries during the season. And we'll just go guy by guy right now. First up on the list, you have Paulson DaBoot. He did play last week. He's limited this Wednesday with an ankle injury. I think that's good news for him. He did play on a limited basis against the Panthers. Came in on some third down looks, some third and longs. Didn't want to rush him back out there with that ankle injury. I think they played it really, really smart with him. Obviously, we'll need him as this long season continues. I do think he'll be fine to play. Do have Alvin Kamara. He's back on the injury report. Limited practice Wednesday, which is a good thing for him as well. With that rib injury, I think he looked pretty okay in that Panthers game from an injury standpoint. Obviously, he had that big fumble, but I just mean from a health-wise, he looked okay to me. Limited practice with those ribs. Hopefully, he's getting better and better. Then you have a common name on here, Marcus Davenport, shoulder injury. It's always going to be something with him. We could just copy and paste his name on the injury report for the rest of the year. He was limited as well. Obviously, man, it's always something with Davenport. That's his biggest problem with the Saints is he's been injured. All offseason, guess what? He didn't practice because he was injured, had a pinky amputated. It's just always something with him. I'm not saying it's his fault. I'm not saying it's anyone's fault. But I'm just used to seeing his name on the injury report at this moment in time. Then we have JT Gray, our special teams ace. Shoulder injury, limited practice. I think he'll be fine. Deontay Hardy, who didn't play in this last game, a foot injury. He was limited, so that's good. A guy that didn't play, in the last game being limited, and our return game has been struggling, so hopefully he gets out there and plays. He returns some kicks for us and help the team. Next up on the list, we got Traquan Smith, who's in concussion protocol. He was a limited participant in practice, which means basically he'll probably clear protocols before Sunday, which is a good thing because we may or may not need him. Don't know what the other receivers' outlook is going to be for that Sunday game as of yet. So good thing he'll be, clear for that just in case we do need him. But when Traquan Smith plays, you can also copy and paste his name on this injury report because he's one of those guys as well. Then we have Taysom Hill. Rib injury. He was a limited participant, which is a good thing. Also, a big news coming out of that. We'll touch on that later. But Taysom Hill did practice, so that's a good thing for Taysom. Hopefully, we need him back, man. He's a big part of this offense, whether it's running the ball, throwing the ball, catching the ball. We do need him, special teams, all of that. Then we have Marcus May. This is the last guy that was limited. Marcus May, rib injury. He's also limited. That's 3 rib injuries on this injury report. Jesus Christ, man. I do think all of those guys that are limited on this list will be able to play by Sunday. Usually, if you're limited Wednesday, you may be limited again, for the next practice and maybe do a full practice, or you may get a rest day or something like that. As long as we don't have any setbacks, the guys that go from limited practice to did not practice, unless it's rest, that's never good. So I do think all of those guys will play. Now let's move on to the guys that did not practice. First up, Ryan Ramczyk. I did get scared when I first saw his name, but then I saw it was just rest. He's going to probably get there once a week, man. He's an all-pro tackle. He's done enough for the Saints. He's our best player on that offensive line, one of our best players on the team in general. Just a rest day for him. Nothing more, nothing less. Then we have Jameis Winston, who's back, ankle, everything, did not practice as well. On Wednesday, that's not a good look for Jameis Winston, just because obviously he's beat up. He's not playing well. He can't be out there in practice. So Andy Dalton did take the first team reps today, and Taysom Hill took the second team reps at quarterback. So that's something new. That's new news out of New Orleans right there, because last week that didn't happen. But now Taysom Hill is taking reps at quarterback. You can make of that what you want. Obviously, if Jameis Winston plays, Taysom Hill would just be the emergency third string quarterback. But he did take reps at quarterback today, so the Saints are obviously, considering something over there. I don't know if it means anything yet, but Taysom Hill did take reps at quarterback. Now, obviously, this doesn't mean Jameis Winston is losing his job or anything like that. It just means that he may not play. I think he's going to play because everything Dennis Allen said, everything Jameis Winston has said, it's looking like he will play, but it is, food for thought. It is concerning that he didn't practice. It is concerning that Taysom Hill is taking reps at quarterback, and Dalton take all of first-team reps at quarterback. So it's just something we're going to be watching for. Then we have the 2 receivers that are injured. We can start with Jarvis Landry, who who had a hurt ankle on a receiving play. He did not practice. It didn't look good in the game, man. I thought it was a knee issue. Thought it was an ACL injury. I'm so glad it wasn't that. A lot of people blame Jameis Winston for that throw, and if you watch that throw again, they saying it's such a bad ball that Jameis Winston got Jarvis Landry hurt. Those guys don't know what you're talking about. If you watch the play again, man, it was a corner or a safety right there. Jameis Winston was throwing the ball low and away, trying to slow the receiver down. It just so happened that Jarvis Landry turned his ankle on that play. You can't blame a quarterback for that. That was actually a good ball. Hopefully, it's just nothing major for Jarvis. If he have to miss this game, I do think we'll be okay if him or Michael Thomas plays, who also is injured. We could just jump right to Michael Thomas since we're talking about him. His foot injury, did not practice. Don't know what type of foot injury it is. His toes, I don't know what it is, but he does have a foot injury. Jarvis Landry has an ankle injury. Both of those guys did not practice on this Wednesday. That's not a good look for our receivers because we don't have any receivers as it is. We're going back to last year. We're on this receiving list if those guys do not play. And last on the list, we have Andres Pete, who's in the concussion protocol. He did not practice, so that's not good. Hopefully by tomorrow or Friday, we get him as a limited participant because Andres Pete has been solid this year. I'm not going to lie, he's been one of our better linemen, maybe our second best lineman, probably between him and McCoy, but he's been pretty good this year, so I'll give him that. We're going to need him out there. He's a good player for us, good run blocker. We're going to need to run the ball, so hopefully Andres Pete is back. It's concussion protocol, so, if he can clear it, he can clear it. If he can't, then he won't play, but he took the trip, so that's also a good sign. I think everyone took the trip according to Dennis Allen, unless you were on IR. So I guess all of these guys have a chance to play. But, man, this injury report is long. How many guys it is? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13 players on the injury report. That is a lot of players on the injury report, man, especially when 5 didn't practice. Really 4 because Ryan Ramchick got a rest day. 4 guys didn't practice at all. 13 guys in total on the injury report, man. That's just bad. That's like almost 25% of the active roster. That's just not good. We're always just one of the most beat up teams in the league, man. We can't escape, the injury bug from us, man. But we do need some of these guys to play. I do think all those limited guys will play. Like I said, Debo, Kamara, Davenport, Hardy, Traquan, JT Gray. I think all of those guys will play. Obviously, Ryan Ramchick's going to play. Taysom Hill, Marcus May, I do believe they'll play. Now, the receivers is the one that I'm worried about the most. Landry and Michael Thomas. If we get one of those guys, that'll be great. Both of those guys, obviously, that'll be fantastic. If we don't have any of those guys, we're going to have to run lineups with Callaway, Traquan Smith, and Olave. And, hey, man, it is what it is. We'll just have to see how it looks. And if Jameis Winston don't play on top of that, we'll have Andy Dalton out there, and Taysom Hill will be the backup quarterback, which means he probably won't be playing as much special teams and tight end. So these next couple of days will be big. We'll see how this injury report turns out. Hopefully a lot of these guys play. Hopefully all of these guys play. It's just not likely for that to happen, but we'll see, man. And obviously injuries happen during the week, and you never know what's going to happen, to guys during the week. Hopefully no one, gets injured like Alontae Taylor did with that knee injury, and hopefully all these guys play, man. Let me know what y'all think about this injury report. Let me know what y'all think about this quarterback situation as well. Should we just sit Winston because he's hurt already, give him a chance to get healthy, and just, play next week? Let me know what y'all think in the comments below. As always, it's DaBoot Tragedies, and I'm out.